Hello everyone, and welcome to the sixth session of Star Trek Event Horizon. If you are just joining us for the very first time, welcome on in. We're on a coaxial warp prototype vessel, and it's quite a treat. But we are using the second edition rules by Modiphius Entertainment, and it is my goal to teach the system and have fun with these fine gentlemen. But before we begin, we need introductions. So, Peter, what do you got going on, and who are you playing?
Hey everybody, I'm Peter, or Petrus Aquinas around the internet. I am playing Lieutenant Commander Jaral, the Chief Engineer and Coaxial Warp Drive Expert, or what passes for one on the Event Horizon. Um, and I don't have anything else to shout out today, I think.
Okay. And yes, chat, I say that you've already redeemed a good and an evil. We'll deal with that in a moment. But
Mm.
up next is Ravenslore. What do you got going on?
Hey, I'm Ravenslore or Tony. I'm playing Commander Oliver Mason, the smartest captain in Starfleet, if you ask him anyway. Um, you can see me here, or you can see me on Crucible Gaming. We play Forbidden Lands, Pathfinder, a bunch of stuff over on Twitch and on YouTube.
I keep meaning to raid into you guys, but I never stream at the right time, unfortunately.
I'll send you a schedule and it'll give you
Yeah,
an
maybe I'll
insight.
just find an excuse to stream. We'll figure something
Okay.
out. But last but not least, Steadfast. What do you got going on?
Yo, Steadfast Richard here. I'm playing Lieutenant Commander Zephyt, our Denobulan navigator, security officer, and alien kisser, and nothing too much. Just the same old, business as usual. And yeah, having a good time.
All right. Well, I have a special surprise if you haven't already been in the Discord and seen it. Techno Nerd and several others have worked on an intro for us, so let's run that intro for the very first time. And welcome back. And again, thank you, Techno Nerd, and everyone else who worked on that intro. Definitely recommend commissioning those fine individuals to do Starship work, 3D work, whatever you need. They'll do it for you. But today, instead of the players doing an opening log, I have one to read off instead. But real quick, before I do, Mason, I want to make sure I have your Vulcan friend correctly. Is it SoTech or Sovec?
So tech. So
SoTech.
T.
Okay. And did we ever establish a rank for them?
I don't believe so.
Okay, well, congratulations. He's been promoted to a lieutenant commander.
Outstanding.
All right. So we begin with an opening shot of the Antari shipyards, and what we see is the event horizon nearby, one of the support gantries, and within the support gantry is a very, not super large, but still recognizable starbase saucer section. And we hear the narration of Lieutenant Commander Sotek as he says, Chief Engineer's personal log supplemental. I have asked my friend, Commander Mason, to journey to the Antari shipyard in order to finally test the use of the Coaxial Starbase. We have taken the logs from the event horizon, applied it to what we know of the Coaxial Starbase, and we believe that we are able finally, with the help of the event horizon, to move said starbase wherever the event horizon can go. As this is a dangerous mission, I have only taken myself and one other. We'll be monitoring the starbase while the event horizon does its job, but I believe we will not have any issues. The simulations are perfect. We have only had a 0.9% discrepancy in the logs. Everything should logically be fine and log. And we zoom in to the saucer section of the station. And if I could describe it, because this is a later techno nerd thing, but for now, I'd like you to imagine like the top of Starbase 1, where it's kind of that sort of trapezoidal-esque saucer section. And the first deck, what we see is a hangar bay, which has enough room for shuttles. It's got a runabout room in there. Not a whole lot of space besides that, but it's still pretty big, all things considered. Below that, you have 5 other decks, in which there are 3 decks of recreation, quarters, things of that nature. It's only on the 5th deck that you actually get to the promenade. Yes, you have a promenade with windows and everything. Nice. And coming off of the promenade are also laboratories, sick bay, ops, all of it coming off that 5th floor. And then on the 6th floor, you kind of lose out on all the windows, because this is where further labs, further storage, and the actual power core for the station are located. And then below that are basically further sort of these docking containers that can be removed and clipped on at will for extra laboratory, extra supplies, things of that nature. But the truly unique feature of this starbase is that a portion of it has been cut away. And anyone looking at the event horizon that we just saw in that lovely new intro would see that the event horizon fits in perfectly where this sort of gap has been taken out of the starbase. But we zoom in through one of the windows of this promenade of the Coaxial Starbase, and we see the 3 of you, along with 2 individuals, one of which is Lieutenant Commander Sotek, your quintessential Vulcan engineer, wearing the bowl cut with the gold uniform. He is pretty young for a Vulcan, though. He's in his hundreds, so, you know, he's pretty young, all things considered, for a Vulcan. But also with you there is the other volunteer for this little jump. It's V, if you all remember V, the Cytherian daughter of Castor. She is now wearing a Starfleet uniform. She has on a provisional rank of ensign, if that matters to you. And she is wearing Science's blue, if that also matters to you. But we sort of join in mid-conversation, and Sotek turns to you, Commander Mason, and says, "Well, as I said, Commander, I do believe that we are able to leave at your discretion, but I thought I'd show you off the place before potentially it blows up."
Well, there's only a 0.9% chance of that happening.
Yes, but logically, we should be prepared for such eventualities.
Well, 0.9% is a significant margin.
And he actually smiles at he takes it as a joke. He takes it as a joke and he smiles and says, "Well, I do look forward to seeing your fine crew at work. I've heard good things of, is it Lieutenant Commander Gerald? Do I have that correct?"
Indeed, you are correct.
I have been told that you are responsible for not only coaxial warping a Gormangander, you have coaxial warped a part of a Dyson beam, and there was a third matter that's not coming to mind.
We've moved another. We did move another. Well, that was a simulation. Never mind.
I might be mistaken. I have been rather absorbed in my work.
That's fine. It's just a way that the coaxial warp drive works is quite interesting, to be able to move larger objects with us.
Well, I do believe that if this experiment goes well today, we may revolutionize how Starfleet does things. Imagine being able to move a starbase anywhere within the galaxy at a moment's notice, and being able to support not only ships like the Event Horizon, but scientific missions, diplomatic envoys. All sorts of possibilities exist.
Mobile
My fear
repair
is
stations,
Starfleet's
mobile
going to use
hospitals.
it as a force projection.
Well, Commander Mason, I can at least confirm that the Coaxial Starbase is not armored to the teeth. It does, of course, have some defensive armaments, torpedo launchers, a few phaser banks, things of that nature, but It's not meant as a force projection, as you say it.
I've spoken about this before, but Starfleet's tendency to send galaxy-class starships to meet new species that have just discovered warp in an effort at diplomacy, some view as almost hostile.
Well, I mean, if you were to send a kilometer-long starship at me with that many armaments on it, I would be in the same viewpoint.
Well, they might view the same about dropping a Death Star on top of them too, but
This isn't quite a Death Star, but I understand your meaning. But
this one is.
speaking of Death Stars, Lieutenant Commander Zeffet, is it?
Yes, sir. That is correct. Nice to meet you.
Yes. I wonder what your thoughts were of the overall design and the security complement. Do you believe that we need less armaments, more armaments, better shields, more power?
I mean, as far as I can tell, for what its current mission parameters and design specifications are, I mean, it doesn't need to be any more, I guess, defensively oriented. For a test bed, I think that it's perfectly apt for what we're putting it towards. Of course, if this is successful, then different variations of this sort of coaxial starbase could most definitely be utilized in many different ways, and some military focused, of course. How big is the crew complement?
Ideally, we will start with a crew complement of 20, very similar to the Event Horizon, but the Starbase can support up to 200.
Yeah, I think depending on what you need it to do, I think you'll probably want to try to increase the crew quarters. But like I said, with an early stage such as this, I think you've designed it in a very good way. So congratulations to yourself and your team.
Well, do not congratulate us yet. Let's make sure that we can actually move the Starbase before we do anything.
That's true. That is definitely the first step, and the second step, and the third step. So.
Speaking of which, do we have a destination in mind?
We do. It is a fairly standard 5 light-year jump. It is a simple sort of jump from here to above Bajor. DS9 has offered to help us acquire any materials repair-wise or otherwise that we may incur as part of this jump. And worst case, if it turns out we can't move the Starbase again because of some fault or some breakage in the Starbase, well, Bajor gets another Starbase. Not a bad thing.
And if we accidentally open up a black hole, then...
Let's hope that we don't do that.
Oh, Mr. Sotek.
It's humanism I have picked up hanging around the likes of you.
All right, gentlemen, let's get to our stations. See if we can move this bitch.
All right. So we kind of do a little bit of a montage where you all return to the Event Horizon. What happens is V goes to Ops to act as your relay between yourself and Sotek. Sotek remains in the reactor room of the Coaxial Starbase. And very carefully, what happens is the support structure around the Coaxial Starbase sort of disengages, sort of like a jellyfish or a squid. Like the tendrils come off, all the little gantries and all the little support pipes kind of pop off with little hisses. And the support structure lifts away so that the Event Horizon can very carefully fly in and dock with the station, which now is a multi-step process. So Zeffet, first roll. I need you to make me a control and a con. The Event Horizon will assist you with an engines con.
Alrighty.
The difficulty is only a 1, but don't roll complications, because that could be bad.
That's valid. That's valid. All right, cool.
I'll roll the ship. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
All right, incoming 20. What did
oh
I tell you?
My
What did I
gosh.
tell you?
Guys, we've got to stop. We need help. Somebody save us. That's so crazy.
When
Oh,
the rolls don't matter, I roll well. And
well,
when they're
that's
important,
fine. That's fine. It's fine.
We don't like fresh paint anyway.
Well, all right. Well, I was gonna give you
Laredo, the
a
wall
threat for
flat.
bold con anyways, so I'll still do it.
All right.
With a focus, helm operations.
Most
I guess.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so you still get a momentum back, and since you got one from chat, you're up to 2 momentum.
Mhm.
So, Zephit, you do manage to mostly get the event horizon docked where it should be, but right at the last minute, one of the thrusters has a little bit too much of a juice, and there's a kind of screeching noise, like and a buck forward. But you are now docked with the station.
I scraped a little bit of paint there. Had a little bit too much power to the engines, but we are successfully docked, Commander.
I'm sure it'll buff out.
I'll clean it up later. I swear.
I'm sure there's no admirals watching to see if they can force project at will. So
It's true.
no pressure.
Pans to the room of 30 admirals watching to see if they
Yeah,
Yeah,
we just
sure.
jump
Yeah.
cut to like the admiral's room of the
Right.
Antari shipyard, and they're like, maybe Zephit needs more helm operations. But that's just step 1. Step 2 is something new. For those who don't know, the technical manual for 2nd edition came out recently and will be available in June, hard copy and PDF. You're welcome, Odysseus. Please give us a shout out too. But part of the technical manual is they actually gave us rules for things like the Protostar drive, the Spore drive, QSD, things of that nature. So what I've done is I've created something similar for our coaxial warp. So this is what it's going to entail, and if we need to tweak this, we can. But first things first is this will take reserve power, so go ahead and take reserve power off the event horizon. And then this is something that involves multiple disciplines. So the first thing is that I need a control and a science, but the ship will assist you within engines and engineering. Now, the difficulty is based on the distance you are moving. And since it's only a 5 light year jump, it's just a difficulty of 1. But again, if Peter's rolling, we all know 20s.
Yeah.
Well, I will do the control science likely with my 14.
Yep.
Okay.
I've got the ship prepped.
And what are we doing? What is the aspect of this control science part?
It is anything related to the coaxial warp, anything related to warp dynamics, anything related to subspace mechanics, anything like that.
Space-time theory, maybe?
I'll give it to you, sure.
Sure. We don't have much for momentum. This is a fairly easy roll, so I think I'll just roll it.
All right. I will roll the ship. Hey, I didn't do it this time.
Okay. All right.
Well, unfortunately,
Mr. Sotek.
because you didn't get any successes, Mason, that actually is a failure.
It is.
And a complication at that. But this is interesting. No, we can play this off. This is interesting.
Yeah.
So, Mason, you do the calculations. Jaral, you get the coaxial warp drive hummed up and running, and you all hear that familiar, sort of building hum. But then it goes dark, like the entire event horizon just sort of powers down and emergency lighting comes on.
Shaka, when the walls fell.
And sure enough, you get a chirp from Lieutenant Commander Sotek.
Why 9%, huh, Mr. Sotek?
I do not believe the fault is with the Coaxial Starbase. I believe something has gone wrong with the event horizon. Perhaps it was related to that scratching of paint?
Perhaps. We'll take a look at it. I'll give you a report once we're
Very
ready to
good. Should we
continue.
disengage you manually?
How about we just stay put for now until my engineer can determine best course?
Very good.
Mason.
So, Commander, do you want me to start on the inside, or do you want me to start running scans on the exterior?
I don't even want to count how many flag officers are paying attention to what we're doing right now.
All right. You just see Gerald like leave the bridge. He immediately
Grab
goes
V.
to the
V might be able
closet.
to help.
Oh, right. So you see him lean back in through the door. V.
V comes with as well.
So Gerald goes out first, checking the coaxial closet.
Okay. All right, Peter, you can make one success here. I believe in you.
You got it,
I
buddy.
believe in you. We cannot roll a third 20 within 5 minutes. This is not possible.
Got it.
The odds on that is 1 in 8,000. I just want to be clear on this. No, I'm wrong. It's 1 in 20. No, it is. It's 1 in 8,000. Yeah.
Challenge accepted.
So, Peter, it's a reason in engineering. It's a difficulty of 1. I'm pretty sure you have a focus here.
I have warp field dynamics.
You have it, yes.
Yeah.
Come on, roll a 1. Show us you can do it. Nice, that works.
Okay. All right. The event horizon helps. Actually, hold on. Maybe I'm lagging. Nope, there it is. There's Gerald's. So there's 2 successes, meaning you get 1 momentum back, bringing you up to 2. Well done. So, the problem, Peter, Gerald, is something that Lieutenant Tom Paris very much highlighted in that episode of Voyager. Your coaxial carburetor has been clogged.
No, I forgot to use the compressed air.
And I think V points at it and goes, well, there's your problem.
I kind of pull it off. Great.
Don't you do regular maintenance on this, Lieutenant Commander?
I do. So I'm not 100% certain if either I missed a maintenance cycle or something else happened. We're going to have to do some scans on this first. And I'm going to check my logs to make sure that I didn't miss a cycle. Because if I did, then we know what the problem is. If I didn't, could be something else.
Well, the good news, Gerald, is that fixing the carburetor, just compressed air. That's all you need. Just compressed air and maybe a toothbrush if you want to be really thorough.
Yep. He pulls out his toothbrush, does it, and then it's like, that may not have been the smartest idea. Puts it in the replicator.
You can always replicate another toothbrush.
Exactly. Just replicate another one. So.
All right, well, the good news is that you slap the cleaned carburetor back on and scan it again, and it looks fine, supposedly.
All right. Why am I using the comms? I can just walk 3 feet. The door opens.
Yeah.
Commander, the carburetor was having an issue. It has been repaired.
Hard to believe.
I will double check the location of the strange squeaking noise to see if that has any other problems. Just so that we're extra sure.
The running into a starbase.
Yes.
Squeaking noise. Right.
Yes.
That could have been. I got some drag on that engine. Maybe the clog was partially the same reason.
Potentially, if you would like to run a system diagnostic on that thruster while I'm checking the hull integrity in the front.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll do that.
All right, Zephyr, if you could give me a reason and con, or an insight con, I'll let you choose. This is also just a difficulty of 1.
Nice. All right.
And you would have a focus here. You've got multiple focuses that would apply.
Copy. Oh, there you go.
Okay, well, that's already another 2 successes, so you get another momentum, bringing you up to 4. So, Zephyr, the reason why the carburetor probably got clogged is because that damage you took to the event horizon is throwing off the coaxial sort of calculations. Because remember, coaxial warp drive operates on a folding principle. So if there's a crease that isn't supposed to be there, or if there's some damage to the hull, the event horizon is extremely sensitive to that sort of thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I will be running a quick system scan from the underside of where the scrape occurred,
Okay.
just to
So
see if that's affecting any of our
it
fields.
is actually. What I can tell you is that your structural integrity field is a little bit mismatched in that area, and that's also probably why the carburetor went, because the hull was messed up, the structural integrity field was messed up. That's just a lot of problems and a lot of quote unquote dirt that the coaxial drive had to deal with.
Mm. All right. Well, that mystery is solved. V, how about I don't know if you've ever seen this before. Here's how we recalibrate the structural integrity field.
With a toothbrush?
No. Push a button and a panel slides out from the wall.
All right, well, I will observe and follow your lead.
Excellent.
All right, Peter, I believe in you. Again, 1 in 8,000 odds. It's a control engineering, difficulty of 2.
Would
You got it.
my electroplasma power systems come into play?
Yes, because you are definitely messing with those.
Okay.
Okay.
We're good.
2 successes. So you are able to fix the mechanical damage. The cosmetic damage, somebody's going to have to go out on the hull and actually buff it out, but the mechanical damage has all been fixed.
Excellent. All right, V, that's how you do it. Push the button, slides back in. Start walking back towards the bridge.
So 5 feet, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Step in. Commander, the structural integrity field has been reinitialized. We should be all set.
Okay.
Shall we try again, gentlemen?
Yeah, nice and slow. I mean, we're trying to do something no one's done before, so there's no need to rush.
All right. So once again, this is a control and a science. The ship assisting within engines engineering. Difficulty is still a 1, but since we have admirals watching, I'm going to spend a little bit of threat. Not a whole lot of threat, just a little bit.
Nice.
Just going to spend 2. Your complication range on both the ship and the science roller is now a 18 to 20.
The ship is always right about there. So does it go up for the ship, or?
I guess technically it would go up for the ship, so the ship would now be a 16 to 20.
Ooh, maybe I should
Nice.
ask.
Nice. What could go wrong?
Well, I'll buy at least a die just because I was a little overconfident last time.
Yeah.
All right, momentum or threat?
Oh, moment.
Okay.
I don't have any of the reroll stuff, so.
Okay, well that's
Nice.
already 4.
That's good.
That's
Nice.
5. That's very good. All right.
There
So
we go.
by my count, you actually get full momentum, and you have 1 floating here.
Ooh.
So let me describe what happens, and then we can talk about maybe using the extra momentum for something. So what happens is this time when you spool up the coaxial drive, the ship does begin to shimmer, as it does in the intro, kind of with that sort of turquoise and sort of bluish light. But instead of it just on the hull of the event horizon, it sort of spreads out from the event horizon to envelop the Coaxial Starbase. And then it starts to shrink. Everything starts to fold in on itself and shrink. The glow gets brighter and brighter and brighter. There's a flash of light. As you always do when you coaxial jump, you see kind of that kaleidoscopic sort of blue expanse of mirror upon mirror. And then you pop back into existence, and you can confirm you are now in orbit of Bajor.
Nice.
So we have 1 extra momentum. We would like to buy a trait because
Okay.
traits are good.
Mm-hmm.
What would be a good trait for like integrated power systems or any suggestions, guys?
Thinking. Specifically related to the drive, or?
Just that particular role, right? So
Yeah.
our connection with the starbase or making the jump or
Okay. Uh,
Seamless integration, maybe?
Right.
Or...
Get
that's where I
perfectly
was
synced
think. That's what
computers.
I
Yeah.
was thinking was
Yeah.
was synced computer systems or something along
Yeah.
those lines.
I will call it seamless integration.
Cool.
And we'll make it a value of 1.
Cool.
All right, so that'll knock you down to 5 momentum, but that is a good trait to have.
Mhm.
But yes, Lieutenant Commander Sotek calls and says, well done. Well, good recovery, Commander Mason. I do believe the flag officers will be most pleased when they get this data.
Well, jumping once doesn't mean it's flawless.
This is true. Shall we go for something a bit more long range?
Well, let's do some scans and diagnostics before we make our next trip. But
Yeah.
if the admirals don't have any reason to prevent it, why not we take a bigger trip?
Well, the good news is that I filed my flight plan as both Bajor and Earth. So one jump of 5 light years and then another jump of 25 light years. I think the flag admirals would be very happy if we pulled off both.
All right, well, let's do our diagnostics, pick up whatever data we can get.
Yeah.
Make sure Earth is aware we're coming.
Yeah. Check how the event horizon did. Structural stuff, power drains, all that sort of fun.
Double check the carburetor.
Yeah. Right. Make sure it doesn't get clogged.
So we'll do our due diligence.
Mhm.
Exactly, yeah. So part of that is, Gerald, I do need you to do a reserve power restore roll.
Yep.
And as a reminder, it starts at a difficulty of 1, but every time it's attempted during a scene, and I'll let you know when the next scene happens, it goes up in difficulty by 1. But for now, it's just a control engineering difficulty of 1.
Okay. And my electroplasma power system
Definitely
comes
applies.
into play.
And a reminder, Peter, if you can use that trait, you'll get 2 bonus momentum thanks to plan of action.
Nice.
So that applies to anyone, but this is just getting the engine back for the event horizon, so you have reserve power back, which means you could coaxial again.
Great.
Now for Mr. Zeffet. Mr. Zeffet, if you could give me a reason and security, and somebody that may or may not be Peter, if you could get me a sensor security. Difficulty of 2, just so to represent your due diligence, make sure that everything is ship-shape.
Copy. Would this count as security protocols? Just making
It
sure
would.
that all of the copy. All right. Nice.
And Peter rolled a 1. Well done, Peter.
Nice. All right. What was the diff on this?
Difficulty of 2.
Copy. All right. I'm just gonna roll it straight then.
All right, 4 successes, meaning you get, once again, 6 momentum and 1 floating. So the good news is that there actually is basically no damage to either the Coaxial Starbase or the event horizon. I mean, of course, there's a few microfractures. There's a few places where, the normal wear and tear of coaxial jumping is present, but it's not anything that should throw off your complication range at all.
Cool.
Nice.
But
Do
again,
we want to use that 1 floating and 1 momentum to upgrade seamless integration to 2?
Yeah.
Upgrade it to 2? Okay.
Yeah.
Upgrading it to 2.
No need to waste momentum.
All right. So, you run your scans, you run it by Sotek, and Sotek, if you could see Sotek right now in the engineering room of the Coaxial Starbase, he does the Vulcan eyebrow raise, and he goes, that is actually far better than most of my simulations showed. My understanding was that we would have had to spend at least 12 hours here at Bajor fixing problems, but I believe we're ready to go right away.
Well, we are smarter than you are, Mr. Sotek.
Debatable. You have still to beat me at Calto.
Day's not over.
And
And you cheat.
again-
You're a Vulcan. And you're like 100 years old.
Am I hearing excuses?
Maybe a little. I'm not used to people being smarter than me.
Well, as long as we've established that.
Healthy competition is good.
Exactly. But yes,
But the
now
good news
comes...
is, if you want to really get a Vulcan going, you just have to let them know that because we have 1 coaxial drive working, we just need to strap another one onto this.
Right.
Because
Two
you might
event
as well have
horizons
two.
just docked with one another, duct taped.
And that starts the whole thing.
Gerald
That starts a
turns.
whole thing. We get to
It is technically possible.
Right.
you give a human one drive, they make two, strap them together, and then
That's
2
right.
years later they strap four together, throw it around the sun, completely blow up the understanding of quantum mechanics. It's just a whole thing.
Yeah.
How we
But
roll.
now comes a little bit more difficult of a roll. So it is still control science. It is still assisted by the ship's engines and engineering. But this time, since it is a 25 light year jump, it is a difficulty of 2.
That's not bad. You guys got this.
Right. Here goes the ship.
Nice.
Okay, that's a success. That's
Good
good.
start.
Well, I'll spend 1, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay,
And no additional complication range.
correct.
And you've taken seamless integration into account already, probably. So
Yep.
I think that's it.
Okay, so
Wait.
you actually get your momentum right back. And yeah, once again, Event Horizon begins to glow, spreads to the starbase, folds in on itself, wink out of existence, kaleidoscopic coaxial drive, hoocha 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 lobster, and then you're above Earth. In fact, you are approximately 4 kilometers off of Starbase 1, exactly where you were designed to be, according to Sotek's flight plan. And apparently, as I spend 2 threat to create a complication, Mr. Zephyr, you're getting some very angry hails from traffic control right now.
Oh, patch it through. But apologies, Event Horizon doing a coaxial test. We were told that we had clearance for our flight plan.
You do have clearance, yes, but we weren't expecting you for another 12 hours. You have thrown off half a dozen flight plans.
Oops.
Our sincerest apologies. I guess point us in the.
I'm just messing with you. Welcome to Earth.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This is an official channel. This is crazy, actually. Thank you.
Humans.
But yes, I actually have a admiral here that wishes to speak with you all if you'd like me to put them through.
On screen.
All right. So appearing on screen is my admiral, one of the admirals that is present in the ELH verse. It is Ignitrix, if you know what she looks like. If not, she's kind of got blue hair, or blue skin, and blue and red hair in a sort of a gradient. She also has avian-like wings, and she is, of course, in a fleet admiral's uniform because, of course, it's me and I have to be a fleet admiral. But she looks very pleased, and she looks at all of you and goes, "Well done. I am not only pleased by the fact you got here ahead of schedule, but by the fact that everything seems to be working better than expected. It is at this point, though, that I have a new challenge for you all, and I would understand if you would want to do more testing and more data, but I would like you to attempt a 2,000 light year jump, just to see if there's any strain that we have to be concerned about.
Do you have a destination in mind, Admiral?
Pick a star and go for it."
Mr. Sotek, any reason why your calculations don't think we could do 2,000 light years?
Theoretically, we should be able to handle up to 50,000 light years, no issue.
I mean, theoretically, a coaxial warp drive can move an infinite mass too, but we'll start with a small. Anyway. All right, Admiral. Let's see what she could do.
All right. So, because you are jumping 2,000, 3,000 light years, it does become a difficulty of 3 because it's exponential. It's times 10 every time it goes up.
I also have to get us our reserve power back.
Yes. So I do need to see reserve power gained. It is now a control and engineering difficulty of 2.
Yep.
Which you just get another momentum, bringing you up to 6. There you go.
Yes.
All right. So again, as a reminder, it is another control and science. Again, it is assisted by an engines engineering. It is a base difficulty of 3, but I think I've got some threat, so why don't we make things a little bit interesting? I will spend another 2 threat. Now the event horizon is 16 to 20, and everyone else is 18 to 20.
Right.
But I would definitely recommend spending some of that momentum, because you are sitting a cap.
So the ship's at 16 to 20, is that?
16 to 20. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's just making sure. Okay.
Alrighty. Well, we have big wigs looking on now.
Yeah.
And Sotek just kind of, we just had a little banter about how smart he is compared to how smart I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I am pretty sure I am smarter than Sotek and everybody else in this room.
Nice.
Do I sense a determinations bet?
Yeah.
I'm going to call back on my previous use of this just to get the
character advancement,
advancement going. So just so I can make a note that I've called back once. And I will use my determination and a momentum. And 18 to 20, you say?
Yep.
There we go.
Okay.
Ooh.
So that, why didn't it? Okay, that's actually interesting. Why did the event horizon not highlight that as a complication? Huh.
Oh, yeah.
Because, it says it's 6. I'll have to look into that later. But that is a success, but there are 2 complications on the field. Do you wish to buy off those 2 complications with 4 momentum?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we want to show off a little bit here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we also want to be successful.
Okay.
And not blow up whatever we just landed next to.
Right.
Also
Correct.
Ideal.
true,
Yeah.
Since
yeah.
it's Starbase 1 that we're leaving next to, and then who knows what we're showing up next to.
I was gonna say, could I try to find a very nice, safe location that is 2,000 light years away that isn't near any sort of awful stellar aberrations or astral dreadnoughts, or, you know.
Where's
nice
Funny
Ryan?
you say that, because I'm going to let you describe what happens when, once again, coaxial jump happens, fold in on itself, kaleidoscopic blue. What happens when you drop out of coaxial warp? What do we see? Do we see planets? Do we see suns? What do we see?
Yeah. I think we'd want to be somewhere that is not in heavily a lot of things around. I think just kind of plop somewhere that's a nice little open slot of space where you can look in any direction and see, you know, a star system that's pretty close, but not like right up in anything. Just somewhere nice and calm, peaceful.
Okay. Let me see. I have 3 threat.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise, there's a comet.
Right.
No, I actually have 1 better, and anybody who's a fan of the channel will recognize this.
Uh-oh.
I spend 2 threat to say that a certain starship actually hails you from nearby, and it is the U.S.S. Ophion. It is a Prometheus class.
Commander, we're gonna hail from the U.S.S. Orpheon. I guess somebody was near where we popped out of.
What do we know about the Orpheon?
Well, you know the Ophion is on a deep space mission. It is being led by Admiral Skull, a Trill, and they're just sort of out here exploring the depths of space, really.
All right, put them on screen.
Yeah.
So appearing on screen is, of course, Admiral Skull. He has been promoted from captain over the many years he's been in service. But he is just a 2-pip. He's not a full 5-pip. He's just a 2-pip. But he sort of looks at you in approval and says, "Commander Mason, it is a pleasure to see you all the way out here."
Admiral?
Now, I know this might be a bit of an imposition, but do I understand that your starbase might have relief supplies?
Well, we're fairly bare bones at the moment, but we may be able to help out. What do you need?
Well, nothing too major. We're just running low on a few of our power reserves. We have been warping around quite a lot. Our last mission involved extended use of MVAM, which also drained our energy reserves quite long indeed. In fact, if you have any extra fusion reactor parts, if you have Heck, we'd even take just regular non-replicated food at this point, or replicated food. Saves us energy.
Well, Admiral, I mean, this might be a little far out there, but technically, we're a starbase. You should be able to dock.
And you can see that Skull actually kind of gets a glint in his eye, and it's that mischievous glint that every player of mine ever gets when they have an idea. He says, "Very well, we will do just that."
Don't worry, we've already scratched the paint.
Oh, great. Great. I'm sure that's going to be fun reading when I get that report later.
I'm sure it's being written as we speak, sir.
Very good. See you in a moment.
Camera pans to Sotek, and he's typing that.
Yeah, Sotek is just on a pad, just typing away. But no, coming in view screen is, of course, the Ophion, a Prometheus class. And since you are currently docked, the Event Horizon is currently docked with the station, I think the opposite side of the saucer section is where I have the other docking point. So the Ophion comes in and gets to station keeping, extends the gantry and it's docked with the station now.
And gentlemen, this is why this space can be scary if it's used the wrong way. Because that could be an absolute warship that can dock and resupply anywhere at a moment's notice. Let's hope Starfleet uses it wisely.
One can hope.
And I think V kind of sticks her head into the room because she's been out in the corridor watching the coaxial drive because Jaral never told her to stop looking. So she's just been staring at the coaxial drive this entire time.
Whoops.
Listen, she's a good ensign. You tell her to do something, she does it.
That's good.
But V pokes her head in and goes, sirs, I have a slight concern about the coaxial drive.
Yes. What is it?
It's the carburetor, V.
No, it's not the carburetor. It's the whole thing. It's purple.
Jaral jumps out of his chair and pushes past her to go see what's going on.
Sure enough, it's purple.
Starts pushing buttons for a diagnostic and getting ready for an emergency shutdown.
Okay, so go ahead and give me a reason engineering difficulty of 1.
Okay. Would my warp field dynamics, electroplasma systems come into play for a focus here?
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Okay, so you get a momentum. So there's not any long-term concern with the coaxial drive, but you might want to cool down a bit before you jump again.
Okay. All right. Thank you for letting me know, V. Walk into the walk.
Do you want me to still watch it?
I think we're okay for now. You can come back into the bridge. I apologize. I should have let you back into the bridge earlier.
Well,
We probably
you
were
gave me
standing
the
here with
order,
door
sir,
open,
and I'm
but
trying to be a good ensign, so...
I appreciate that, but you can ask for clarification in the future.
Noted.
So Jaral leans back into the bridge. Commander, the drive seems to be fine, just a little overtaxed, so we won't be able to jump for a while. It has I believe, a cooldown period is the appropriate term. Quite literally.
We use it too often and it turns purple.
Either that or it's because we used it often and with a large mass. I haven't quite determined if it's one or the other or both.
I would be curious whether it's distance-based or is it because we did 3 jumps so quickly?
Proximity, yeah.
Well, as
What those
we sit and
limitations
wait,
are.
I can run diagnostics.
Mr. Sotek might be able to give you a hand too. He loves doing calculations. And he'll let you know.
In fact, Sotek is actually already coming through the airlock, and he says, I heard there were calculations to be had.
Nice.
Yes, there are. We have to calculate what caused some issues with not potential issues with the coaxial drive in terms of repeated
You are
use
aware it
or
is
mass.
purple, yes?
Yes, we did notice that. That is where this conversation came from.
Oh. Well, perhaps you and I can work on it, Lieutenant Commander Jaral. As for you, Commander Mason and Lieutenant Commander Zeffet, perhaps you can deal with the Admiral.
Absolutely. And then I'll check your numbers when you finish, Mr. Sotek. Just
I'm
to
going
make
to
sure you
get.
carried all the ones.
I am going to get my Calto, and we are going to settle this.
Looking forward to it.
The replicator's right over there.
You mean in that alcove?
Yes.
Why is everything's in a closet here? This is
It's a
highly
submarine,
logical.
Mr. Sotek. It's not a starship. Submarine.
Oh. All right, we jump cut to a new scene. So if you have anything related to a scene, it refreshes. But we actually now move to the ops of the Coaxial Starbase. And because I'm a sucker for DS9, it actually is same sort of layout as DS9. It's just instead of it being Cardassian technology, it is Starfleet technology. So you of course have that big table in the middle, and then on concentric raised rings you have LCARS panels everywhere. You have the commander's office, the station commander's office that is above all that, and you have a turbolift that does go to the promenade. But waiting for you there, Commander Mason and Lieutenant Commander Zevit, you do see he's an admiral now, Admiral Skull, and he is with several of his other individuals. Anyway, again, fan of the channel, you would see Master Chief Hylong, and if you don't know what Master Chief Hylong looks like, she is a Serato Draco. So basically, imagine kind of a reptilian, but a little bit more humanoid than a Saurian and a Gorn. She, of course, has that resplendent scaling, big tail, and fits the security chief to a T, kind of a thing. But Admiral Skull just kind of raises a mug as you two come in and goes, "Commander Mason, Lieutenant Commander Zephyr, welcome to Coaxial Starbase." Or maybe I have that reversed. Maybe you need to be welcome. It doesn't matter. I don't stand on ceremony. I'm not that kind of admiral.
I think technically Mr. Sotek's in command of the Starbase.
But he is also aboard the Event Horizon, so it would then default to the highest ranking officer. Therefore, you're in command, Commander Mason.
Right up until you walked in, sir.
Oh, I'm just visiting. I'm not actually staying here.
Yeah, regardless. Welcome aboard.
Very good. Now, and he actually gets serious. Like before, he was very jovial. He gets very serious and says, "Now, Commander Mason, I can read between the lines of reports, and I can understand if you would have some concerns about this technology being used for force projection. Am I barking up the right tree?"
It's the right tree, and you know it is the right tree. It's
Then
a significant threat. The Klingons, if they were aware of this, would be terrified that we have this capability, let alone what the Romulans would do.
well, the Romulans, I think, will be okay about, but I do agree that this is the kind of technology we need to be very careful who has control of it. But I do have good news. And he actually fishes in one of his pockets, and he pulls out, and you're going to love this because you may have had this tradition on your actual real-life ship, but he pulls out a little bit of a medal. And he says, technically, this is the Coaxial Starbase's 1,000th light year traveled, which means it is qualifying for several marks.
I suppose so, sir.
And he says, "Hylong, please sound the whistle." And of course, there's the bosun's whistle that Hylong sounds off. And Skull says, "For traveling over 1,000 light years in its service, I hereby present the 1,000 light year medal to the current commander of the Coaxial Starbase, Commander Mason. Congratulations, Commander Mason."
Thank you, sir.
And he actually hands you the medal, and it's like one of those nice like medals that's actual like titanium, and it's got like little symbol of like 1,000 in it in Roman numerals, and it has like a starship just flying by. But what you notice is that, how do I want to say this? Is that the dedication plaque for the station actually already has like spots for you to put the medals in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
And also for anybody, or you know what, I'll say this in character. As Skull hands it off, does the handshake, poses for the holographic picture, the whole thing. He actually looks at you, Commander Mason, and says, "I know this is a very old Earth tradition, but didn't humans used to get tattoos to symbolize things like crossing the equator and things of that nature?"
Well, there's a lot of old traditions in the the old Navy, sir. Perhaps we'll, instead of tattoos, we'll just, well, we're kind of based on a submarine crew. We'll have a glass of rum.
Well, if it's rum you want, Long, go back to the ship. Get my second best crate. Long salutes, runs off. Yes, I've been ignoring you, Lieutenant Commander Zeffet. My apologies.
Oh, no worries, sir. I'm just thinking about how they probably need to redo how we get the medals if this is how it's going to be. Otherwise, every time we return somewhere, it's going to be a lot of pomp and circumstance.
Oh, I do believe that Fleet Admiral Ignitrix is probably going to throw a bunch of medals at you once this is all said and done. But I actually have something directly from one of your family members, and he actually digs in his pocket for a smaller pad. If this is correct, I'm to understand that you have new children on the way. Extended family, of course.
That is correct, yes. I appreciate you delivering this to me. It's very kind of you, sir.
Well, it's actually not the pad I'm delivering, it's something else. And he reaches into his other pocket. His pocket's operating on hammer space, apparently. And pulls out a bar of latinum and hands it to you. Let's just say I owe the husband in charge a bar of latinum.
You lose a bet?
Oh, it was a terrible bet. I shouldn't have taken it.
What was the bet?
Oh, that the Ophion could withstand MVAM over an extended period of time, and long story short, it didn't exactly go to plan.
Interesting. I'd love to hear about that long story. That sounds like a fascinating endeavor that you went on.
Well, we have time anyway. Let me pull up a seat, gentlemen. Get comfortable. We got Long coming with rum. Sit back and relax.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
All right.
As we're chilling on this skeleton crew station, there's like nobody here.
I was just going to say there's 19 people running a starbase at a starship.
Mm-hmm. All right, so while Commander Mason and Zeffet are getting the story from Admiral Skull, we're going to go to Jaral and Sotek. So, Jaral, where would you like to start?
Well, first, I think I need to run through the logs from the Coaxial's self-diagnostic as it's running to see where the spikes of active. I mean, we obviously know where the spikes are, but how high the spikes are, and then work with Sotek to try to parse that.
Okay. So this actually is going to be difficult because this might reveal something about the coaxial drive, and I want it to be a little bit challenging. So for you, this is going to be a insight and engineering. I will give you warp field dynamics as a focus, but I am going to make the difficulty of 4.
Ooh. Okay. In that case... It's a 4. I think we might be burning a determination here.
Okay. What value?
Respect the machine, understand the machine.
Which would be another callback, so go ahead and make sure you note that as well.
Yep. I've been making sure to note whenever I do that, so... I've used values many times. Okay.
And also remember, you do have veteran after the fact.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that. Okay, so I'm using determination. I would like to use... Did I use the momentum to use my determination? I don't think so.
No, so that was a first edition thing where in first edition the determination die was added on. In second edition, it just turns the first die in your pool to a 1.
Okay, so I'm going to use a momentum, if that's all right with everybody, to get another die just to be on the safe side. Whoops.
No, there we go.
Okay.
There you go. 4 successes is what you need.
Definitely good that I did that.
All right. So, Jaral, it's not a function of the coaxial drive going distances. Distance isn't really a factor. It's not really a factor of the coaxial drive being used a bunch of times in short succession, but because in that kaleidoscopic space that you, of course, go to every time, you hit something. But it wasn't a hit in the way that, oh, you slam into something, you come to a stop. But you pass through something. And what that something is a little bit strange. But, and I think this is the first time I can use this for you, you have learned from the past. Which means you would generate a additional point of momentum, which can be used to obtain information.
Ah.
Cool.
All right, so I guess I will use that point of determination then, and not the momentum. And we're going to obtain some information to see if we can get a I don't know if it's a power signature or like a quantum signature of whatever we passed through.
Okay. So you get a signature, and you can confirm two things. The first is that it does appear to have belonged to a life form or something. It was some kind of life form. The second thing is that there is not a splat mark or anything, because you didn't run the creature over, you just sort of passed through it. There is some residue on the hull which you could collect.
I am probably going to do that. That probably means an EVA for Giral.
And I think Sotek, again, is watching all this and confirming, well, I have logged many hours of EVA. Perhaps we can go together.
That would be most appreciated.
Very good.
I'm going to reroll for veteran as well.
Well, that's a 20, but that's not a complication because that's just for veteran.
All right.
Yep.
Boo. Peter when the dice fell every time.
I got skills.
Oh. So, I like to imagine that, of course, at this point, Mason and Zephyr and Skull, the rum has been delivered, the rum is flowing, everybody's having a good time. And then you sort of look out one of the windows of Ops, and you see Giral and Sotek just out on the hall, just sort of walking.
Oh, look. What's up? You guys have communicators on, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
wearing
sent to
ABA
Giral.
suits. Giral here.
I can't help but notice that you're not at your post.
Oh, right. We're investigating what could be described as well, it's a residue on the hull. We seem to have come into contact with something while in coaxial space. That seems to have what caused the issues with the drive, so we're going to get a sample or all of it and see what exactly it was that we came in contact with.
What's the metaphor for don't leave the ship without telling the captain that you're leaving the ship? In that strange language of yours.
Ripley, her face set.
Faces might get set.
Understood, Captain.
Keep me posted. Sotek, don't let him drift off somewhere.
Well, it would be interesting if he were to lose magnetic boot cohesion and we had to perform a rescue operation. That was a joke for legal purposes.
That
was
was
a joke.
Mr. Sotek.
Isn't drifting off just sleeping in human parlance?
No, it also happens when you sort of drift off towards one side or another in a vehicle, or you fall away from something at a slow speed.
Ah.
Zephyr, pass me that bottle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Close the channel.
Extra shots are poured, yeah.
All right, so Giral, you actually go to the top of the starbase for this one, and actually sort of lodged within the hangar door that would allow a runabout to come in and dock with the Coaxial Starbase is a bit of, like, goo. So it's some sort of slime, some sort of goo. It is translucent, it is green, and when you run your tricorder over it, it's thankfully not radioactive, but it is the quantum signature that you detected on the coaxial drive.
I'm gonna pull out my container. Will it fit?
Not all of it.
Okay. Well, we'll look at Sotek. Let's take what we can and then at least unwedge it from the ship, I guess.
You mean to simply throw it into the void of space?
Or we could just carry it or use the transporter to dematerialize it. I don't know. But I would rather not leave it just right here.
1, 2, 3, not it.
Well, I guess I'm carrying both pieces.
No, I will take the sample container. You can carry the amorphous glue.
All right.
So we do a small jump forward in time because it's funny. It would be. You know what? No, it's funny. Peter, I need you to make a roll for me. You know, it's funny.
Nice. Yes.
Oh, no. Okay.
Fitness.
Oh.
Fitness and con. You're
Oh,
totally
no.
power stats
Oh,
here.
whoa.
They're not my worst stats, but they're pretty close.
Fitness and con. Difficulty of 1.
Nice. I don't think I've got anything that's going to come into play here. So, yeah.
Hey, you still get a 1. That's all you
Nice.
need. All right, so between you and Sotek, you're able to collect the amorphous goo. You have a sample container full of this stuff, and you walk back. And again, Mason and Zephyr, you're sharing stories with Skull. You see them both walking back, but Jaral is like surrounded by just this big old patch of just green goo.
Oh, okay.
What is he doing?
I have no idea. Is it following him? What is that?
Sometimes you don't want answers.
Yeah.
I think Admiral Skull looks at it too and he goes, "Have I had too much, or is that Lieutenant Commander just being trailed by something?"
Oh, by all accounts, he pulled it from a different type of space too, so it should be interesting, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Hi, Long. Give me another bottle.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Like maybe we'll be christening these science labs quicker than we thought.
Well, I hear the med bay is quite up to date.
Well, we are here to learn new
Yeah.
things.
But yeah, we move forward just a little bit in time, enough time for if you want to shake off the effects of synthethol, or if it's no, I think Skull would have real rum. If you want to shake off the effects of actual liquor, you can. But all of you are present in one of the science lab, or if you wanted to do it on the station sick bay, you can do that too. But all of you are sort of just around this container of green goo, and you're debating what to do with it.
I think we'll do it in the med bay, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
we think it's something that might have been alive, or
It seemed to potentially have a biological signature, yeah.
Yeah.
so. Doc, what can you tell us?
And that's the thing, is that there actually isn't a dock for the station. Because remember, it was just V, and it was just Sotek for the station. But I believe we have a supporting character. Hold on, I know we have a supporting character.
Oh yeah.
We do have a doctor, yes.
Yeah.
Was
Rangy,
it...
Clairol
yeah, it was...
Bim Tomf, the Tellarite.
Oh,
Yeah, and you were the...
right,
Was it
Howard,
you
yeah.
running that, Steadfast?
Yeah, I was last time. I think she's like I think I had her as like an old smoker woman. So,
Yeah, that's what she was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
will count as an activation for her. So you could give her a talent, could give her a value, could give her a focus.
Nice.
But yeah, I'll let you run Tomf because it's funny if you have to talk to yourself.
Yeah, that's valid. Yeah. Maybe we'll give her a focus in like exobiology or
Exobiology,
something like
sure.
yeah.
That is the medical talent, right?
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, she'll there you go. She's got it. Yeah, I guess the squad will enter with goo, and she's just kind of I guess she'd still be in Event Horizon don't know if she would have gotten.
She would have
gotten out
moved
yet.
over at this
Oh,
point.
okay,
You would
cool.
have
Yeah,
you would have moved over.
yeah, she'll be checking out the med labs. Um, Everybody will walk in and she'll be like, "Oh, welcome back, Commander. This med bay is pretty nice. Is there a way for me to request a transfer to the station so I can get out of the dinky Event Horizon, or is it too early for that?"
It's a little early for that.
All right, well, just put a pin in it. We'll have the conversation later. Well, welcome to the medical bay, I guess. You guys just going on a tour, or what's going on?
Hold up the container.
Am I supposed to know something about what's in that container, or is this a request?
This is a container of potentially biological material that was lodged in the ship while we were in coaxial space. We need to do some tests.
Oh, you got some green slime that might be living. Fine.
Yes. This is only part of it. So.
There's more of it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it still on the outside of the ship, or?
Yeah. It's outside
Okay.
the airlock.
All right, well, that's fine. All right, well, bring it over here and see what we got, I guess. Yeah, we'll stick it into one of the medical scanners and see what we can find out.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a control. No, it would be a reason in medicine. And it would be a difficulty of 2.
Okay. Reason, medicine. She's got the focus. And I'll give you a threat for a 3rd die.
Okay. I can offer you a success with a complication.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what happens is you stick the container into one of the bioscanners, and you do get a result that, yes, this does appear to be some discharge from a creature. So, It's not a creature. You did not run over a creature. You just collected some of its off-put, to put it in one way. But what happens is the complication is apparently the goo begins vibrating, and everybody hears like the container rattling, and then all of a sudden the container breaks and splashes all over our Tellarite doctor.
Oh no, that's probably not good.
Well, here's the thing. Does your doctor have any external injuries? I'm talking scars, anything wrong with their limbs, anything at all that would be considered an injury.
That is like exposed, not underneath like uniform, or
Anything that would be visible to people in the sickbay with you.
I'd say probably no. She doesn't really do too much other than just kind of chill medical stuff, and any sort of external scarring or anything she would have, I think, done the restorative medical properties to remove them, but she's just kind of an old grumpy Tellarite doctor now that just wants chill positions until she retires.
So keyword there, old, yes?
Yeah, she's old, yeah.
All of you, as she, I imagine, swears and gets the goo off of her,
Yeah.
all of you notice that she de-ages by a couple years. So maybe some of her wrinkles go away, maybe her tusks get a little bit more gleamy. I'm trying to imagine Tellarites de-aging a little bit.
Right.
But no, by the time you get the goo off of you, Tomf, you've de-aged about 2 years.
Is there is that enough for her to like physically feel that?
Let me put it this way, because we're all more or less in that age in real life. Your back no longer randomly hurts.
Interesting. She'll kind of like stand up a little bit and like kind of pop her back. She'll like look at her hands and stuff and be like, okay, that was weird. That felt very strange. I don't know how else to say that. Let's recontain this stuff until we can find out more about it. My back does feel good, but that's probably not good.
Do we
Doesn't
now
make
need to
any
run
sense.
scans on you?
No, yeah, we definitely need to put me in a med bay and figure out exactly what happened. But we also have to contain this thing. So we definitely need to
Jarrell leaves
put
to
it
get
back. Yeah.
another canister.
Right. Yeah.
So I think Skull is if I remember Skull's sheet, he has medicine. So he'll scan you this time, Tom. And he says, yeah, congratulations, you're 2 years younger.
It was like that. It barely touched me. It was on me for like 2 seconds.
Apparently that's enough. And Skull looks at you, Commander Mason. I believe we now have another conundrum in addition to the worries about force multiplying.
Perhaps. What's its mass compared to when we brought it in? Is there
The
less of it?
goo? Let me see. Runs the tricorder. The goo has lost about 35% of its mass.
Is it? Did it like join with me? Is it in me? Is it detectable in my skin?
Runs the tricorder over you. No, you are goo free. Congratulations.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, we need to contain that and do a lot more scans because that if its restorative properties are that potent, that can. I mean, it's very fascinating, but also potentially problematic.
Nothing comes for free, so
Exactly. Yeah.
let's see what we could figure out, Doc. Let's get that thing contained.
All right. So, quick little montage. Jarrell, you come back with a container, stuff the goo into the container. Everything's recontained. Nobody de-ages or de-injures themselves any further.
Yeah.
But it is very obvious, and all of you have had time to verify that this goo, as much as it operates, it does have restorative properties that, if it gets out, could be an issue.
I have a couple questions.
I have a couple answers.
Does the goo on the ship, does the ship de-age?
Yes.
So
Interesting.
it's temporal,
Yes.
potentially.
Yeah.
And in fact, since you have seamless integration as a trait, I'm going to say that scratching of the paint, gone.
Ah, interesting.
My other question is just as a player
Uh-huh.
who's playing someone with a very high science,
Right.
should there be coaxial space?
No. That's the thing.
That
is
was my
that
understanding.
Right.
There shouldn't be a thing there, right?
yeah, there shouldn't be anything in that kaleidoscopic coaxial space.
And
I just called it
it
coaxial
is
space because I didn't have anything else to call it.
right. And it was from our medical scans, we could tell that it was from something else, right? It wasn't.
Correct.
Yeah. So there's some sort of life in the in between, I guess.
But there isn't an in between, or there shouldn't be theoretically.
Well, right. I mean, it is like instantaneous, right? So
But it's not even like we don't leave our space to go into a different space and come back to our space. We just fold it.
right.
We
go from
stay
here
in the
to
same
there,
place. We're just folding space. There shouldn't be anything to run into there.
What if it's a side effect of the folding of the space, right? That if we're doing something, it could just be a side effect of doing it. I don't know how that would work, but
Could we have been accidentally folding in another dimension of space that we're not
Right.
aware of?
Sotek actually speaks up and goes, that is a interesting hypothesis. Commander Mason, if you would care to assist me, since I am the superior intellect.
In space-time theory,
Of course.
you're the okay. Well, Mr. Sotek, you put your hand scratches on the paper and I'll correct.
All right. So, actually, Commander Mason, you're making the roll here. Sotek is assisting you. But at this point, it is definitely a reason and science. This is definitely space-time theory. This is a difficulty of 5.
Oh, hi.
But, as something I forgot to take account of, you have faith of the heart, and you did spend a determination, so you're actually at 2 momentum.
okay.
Well, that's better. Ish. Five's going to be, that's a hard ask
Mm-hmm.
because I do not have determination.
Right. So it's either you're going to have to buy some dice with threat and momentum. You may challenge a value even to get a point of determination. But I am going to need to see a 5 here. But if it helps, I will at least roll for Sotek. Sotek is rolling underneath a 14. Sotek does assist you, so I only need to see 4 successes.
Okay. I would like to challenge. What do I want to challenge? I'm going to challenge. I haven't used this value, so it's a good one to challenge.
Okay.
May the bridges that I burn light the way.
Mm-hmm.
The initial idea, the concept of the character was that it was very promotion based, like steamroll his way to captaincy, and it doesn't seem to be the way he's playing it. So that would be a good one to.
Okay. Let's go ahead and mark it as challenged, and then, yeah, you have your determination back.
Challenge that. We'll rewrite that into something else. Something sarcastic, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
So I'll buy a die, use a focus, use determination. That should do it, right? For 4?
How many dice are you buying, and are you using it momentum or threat?
I'll buy 1, right? Because that'll give me 3 dice, 2 successes. Well, no, I better buy 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would
Which
either
will
be
be-
2 momentum. Oh, no, you just got a momentum from chat, so it would just be all the momentum
Nice.
you have.
Thank you, chat. Good timing. So that'd be 4 dice, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And you nail it
Sweet.
with 7 total
gorgeous.
successes. So you get team momentum back. So, Mason, what Sotek says and what everybody else has hypothesized is actually the case. That inadvertently you have discovered a alternate dimension as part of your travels.
Goodness.
Okay, so we have 2 dimensions. We have 2 momentum.
Yes,
So we can obtain information with that.
you can.
So let's ask. What do we want to ask? I'm curious if the temporal effects is part of the dimension or part of the goo. Is it the goo that does it, or is it just because it's from there?
It is from the goo.
It's specifically from the goo.
Interesting. Okay.
I'd like to ask, if we ask 2, we can get a trait, guys. So what
Yeah.
else would we want to know? Do we want to know how to get back? Like, or
To get
Yeah, I
back
mean, if-
into that space, or
If you could
can we
gather
deliberately, what method
Right.
would it take to get into that space?
can we gather from the goo, like its temporal signature, and figure out what
Yeah.
where did it come from?
In
That'd be
fact,
a good question.
we'll spend the momentum, and I'll already anticipate the trait you want. Honed in quantum signature, or I'll say obtained quantum signature.
Sure.
And yeah, you theoretically have everything you need to attempt a journey into this other dimension.
Mhm.
Interesting.
We're just going to have to steal a Prometheus class.
Well,
Look out
actually,
the window.
as you're all doing this, I think Admiral Skull just sort of looks over and goes, "Well, Commander Mason, I believe you are on quote-unquote cooldown anyway. If you want to use the Ophion, you certainly may, but since your crew is the one to discover this, I'm not going to pull rank. What would you like to do? Would you like the Event Horizon to investigate, or shall I take the Ophion?"
I think it's better that if we're going to investigate a new dimension that we've never seen, we keep the coaxial drive close. Might be the only way back.
Very good. Do you wish any extra support crew?
There's a few bodies I'm sure that wouldn't mind trading out. We've been flying for a while, but I guess we'll sit down and see who wants to volunteer.
Very good. Besides, I'm still feeling a little bit of that rum. And yeah, I think that is an excellent moment to call our session to a close, as in next session,
Interesting.
Next session, you get to experience something another of my streams has already experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Should be a fun time.
Interesting.
Is it fluid space? That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. It was fluid space.
You'll find out.
Everything is 36% more moist.
Oh, Lord. All right.
Oh,
Well,
right.
thank you for tuning in. Twitch, stick around for a little bit longer, but YouTube, we'll see you later. Bye bye, YouTube.